everyone. Hi. Welcome to
Hi.
let's role play. I don't know. Ardenfell, 13th Age, whatever you want to call it. I am Squee, of course, joined by Grimmith. Say hello.
No.
Inferno.
No?
Burnerator.
No.
Hi.
Piff.
Yes.
Criana.
Maybe.
So I am joined by all of them, and we are going to be role-playing 13th Age, but it's going to be set in a custom world. I'm not going to go into too much details because you guys should all know what's going on. And we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. So all of your characters have spent at least some time in this city, the city that you're looking at now, which is the city of Whitebridge, one of the free lands. Mm-hmm. And it has come to all of your attentions that notices have been posted around the city asking for help. Basically, someone, you don't really know who, the note was not really signed, asked for everyone to show up at this tavern. Let me click it. That tavern. Hopefully you can see that.
Ooh.
Right there at a certain day at, say, a certain time, the afternoon-ish. And that there will be a reward, a task that needs to be done, and gold for it. So, you guys, for whatever reasons you chose to, you all arrived at the tavern, and I'm going to move to that tavern now. While I do that, do you guys want to... Oh, yes, sorry.
Sorry, I just have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sake of framing it for my character. Was a specific gold reward, like a number set, or just a reward?
It said a substantial reward.
Okay, substantial. All right.
You wouldn't want to advertise how many gold pieces are going to be rewarded. You might get a lot of people who aren't
rob
up to
you?
the task.
Yes.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Might not be particularly fond of it. Now, you guys, if you would please give everyone, you don't have to go into details of backgrounds or anything, but kind of what class your character is and what they kind of look like as I get your tokens onto this map here.
Inferno
Grimmith, you
goes
go
first. Oh.
Okay.
No.
Okay, Piff can go first.
Oh, well then, the tables have turned. I am a ranger, and I do ranger things.
Nuh-uh.
You don't say.
Just kind of a basic ranger class thing.
What's your name?
My name's Cole.
What's your race?
Usually about 500 yards.
I get it.
We're off to a great start.
So far, just golden comedy for me. I know, guys. Trying to keep up.
Anything else
Alright.
there, Piffy?
I suppose you could say he's an orc.
Okay.
If you really wanted to classify him.
Okay.
And such orc is, for whatever reason, not actually going onto the map. You seem to be the only token that does not want to do what it's told.
Yes!
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm going
Do you
to
get
go
to
ahead.
get my old token?
Oh God.
No. I can fix this. I'll just have to, I will just have to re-tokenize you.
Well,
What about
while you're
Burn?
fixing it, is it okay if I introduce my character?
It is more than okay. And
I'm
you
not
should all
stepping on
be
your
able
toes,
to
Pip?
control your characters in just uno momento.
Okay. Were you done, Piff? I didn't mean to step on your toes if you weren't
No,
finished.
good.
Okay. So, Pearson Cullimore is a human male in his mid to late 30s, he looks like. Pretty tall, 6'2", pretty tough. He's in good shape, especially his arms and her legs are well muscled. But after a time of soft living, he does have himself just a little bit of a paunch where he wouldn't have had it in his younger times. He wears very plain clothing. He has dark hair, nearly black, and blue eyes. And he is with just a few scars around his body. He does not smile all that much. He surveys things with silence. His body is relaxed, but his eyes are very, very sharp. And he has a bit of a reputation behind him, but we won't go into that just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that for me.
I am Finian. Everyone just calls me Finn. I am a elf, high elf male, and I am pretty short. I'm 5'3", and I have blonde hair and green eyes, and I am a ranger. But I do more hand-to-hand stuff and all that great stuff. And I hang out with Cole. He and I met a while back, so we're familiar with each other. And that's all about you need to know about me right now.
He's like a little sidekick.
I'm also a little shithead, but you know, it's fine. It's a punk. He's a punk. But you know, he means well, sort of, most of the time. If it benefits him, really.
Wow, that's quite a string of subtitles there.
Well, you know, it's like if you take medicine, you're gonna have some side effects. Let's just say his side effects is quite an extensive list. But who wants to go next?
I guess I will go.
Burn.
I'm playing Keen Stormsire, a ranger that specializes in using his bow. He is somewhat muscular. He seems to have lost or, well, gained a few pounds recently. He has a beard, he has brown hair, and he likes to wear a cloak. That's pretty much it that I can go into right now. He likes bows.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Really.
Grimmy?
Like in a weird way, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm playing Jarek Veermal, a human necromancer in his mid-20s. One of you kids can link that for the fuckers in chat. Right side is thinner than his left. Beneath the robe, walks at an amble, an awkward gait, but one perhaps disposition to his line of work.
Indeed. And now that I finally have just broken down and just made Piff an entirely new token, because I don't know why, I'm going to throw this on the map, give it to Piff to control, and we shall be able to start. While I am doing this, I can go ahead and continue with the story. So you all arrive in the tavern, as you can see. You all can control your tokens, yes? Minus
Yes.
I
Piff.
can move.
Yes.
Okay. You can't... What? Why is it not saving? So you
Can I play
all
the
arrive
game?
at the tavern, and it is crowded with people, as one would surmise. It is full of people who would be adventurers, who are answering the call, all sorts of shady types, a few not so keen types. Some of you may recognize them, some of you may not. But basically, around 30 people are crowding the tavern, basically all waiting to hear what this new job is. Because these kind of letters aren't really seen too often. You don't really see this kind of thing too often in this town. Most of the jobs are either through the town guard or through the various guilds or less seedy things. This is actually the first time any of you can ever remember someone just straight up posting a sign, so
An
to speak.
independent notice.
A flyer, right. And you guys, hang on, finally got Cole there. He's all yours. You guys are there for about half an hour. If you want to roleplay anything while you're waiting, you can, or we can just skip ahead.
I'll only just make a point
Cole.
that Pearson Cullimore would just find or make himself a seat close to the door but facing towards the exit itself, and ordering a very strong drink. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
While my
Common.
character enters, he kind of awkwardly bumbles into things, pushing chairs around and things like that. Very, very much sort of awkwardly knocking into a lot of things and then finally settling down over here.
We're playing a game.
Commandeered a chair, watching the fireplace.
Watching it.
Hey,
It's
some-
television.
The fire is more interesting than people.
Well, fair enough.
Burn.
Wow. I just ordered a drink and I'm waiting for whoever is supposed to meet us.
All right. After about half an hour or so, you hear a high-pitched feminine voice, but strangely loud enough to rise over the din of the hustle and bustle of the tavern. And everyone turns to the center table, this table right here. And all of a sudden, from the rafters of the tavern, floats down about 6 inches tall. I'm uploading it now.
Talking mouse.
A talking mouse.
Hello,
Floats down.
everyone. Oh, God.
Hey guys, what's going on?
I'm
Be a serious
uploading a
roleplay,
picture
guys.
of what
Come
you're
on.
seeing. But basically, a fairy with light purple skin and dark purple hair and wings actually floats down to the center of the table. Now, it should be stated that all of you have probably heard of fairies, but they're very, very rare. They're not very commonly seen. And this one, like I said, is about 6 inches tall, so very, very small. And she floats down to the center table.
Oh, wow.
And,
She's huge.
well, I was gonna actually,
It's a representation.
it's a
Oh,
representation.
there we
So
yes.
that we can actually see her in more
Exactly.
detail. She's 6 inches tall.
And
All right.
she floats down to the table and she says, everyone, can I have your attention, please? I am the one who put up the notice, and I am the one that needs your help. And then, of course, everyone starts to gather around the table so they can hear her and see her. And a lot of people perk up. And she looks around, and then she
Finn.
starts...
Finn's trying to poke her. Like, what?
Stop.
What?
What are you doing?
What?
Yeah.
Like,
Pearson will
and
gather-
she actually gets like an angry face and flies straight up to Finn and kind of lands on his chest and pokes him right in the nose and said, "Stop it!"
Oh, okay. Sorry. Jeez.
And then she
Purple
floats
thing?
back to the table, kind of like brushing off her skirts and what the, muttering to herself. Yes, Pearson.
Oh no, I was just gonna say Pearson and will gather with the rest of them, trying to get a good sight of this creature, but he has a bit of a smirk and actually will give out a bit of a skeptical laugh as well.
Okay, she looks around at all the people gathered around her, and she starts off and she goes, "I've called you here today because I am in desperate need of help, and I'm afraid I misled you. And she starts kind of getting choked up, and she says, "My brother, Trip, was kidnapped, and he's being held in somewhere in this town by some group of..." And then she starts like tearing up, and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I don't have the money, but I need help so much. He's my only brother." And she kind of falls, and she has tears streaming down her face, and she just, everything she finishes just kind of turns into a bunch of whimpers. Everyone roll a d20, an intelligence check. So d20 plus whatever your intelligence modifier is.
Okie dokie.
Boo.
Oh, +2.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well done, Finn.
You know, I try.
So,
So what?
so, Ken and Cole and Jarek, all of you kind of sense that this isn't maybe as genuine as it looks. It's a good show, but maybe there's something about it that maybe you've seen real enough crying or done enough yourself, or there's something a little off by this whole thing.
Yeah.
But to most of the other people in the tavern, they start muttering to themselves and talking to each other and then turning around, and then almost to a man, everyone just kind of leaves. complaining about, I thought there was going to be good money in this, or I can't risk my life without any chance of reward, or what kind of fairy does this? And then you hear little things of, well, it's a fairy, what can you expect? Even though they probably have no idea what to expect.
Finn's lying on the ground just like, damn it, I thought I was going to be rich.
Pearson mutters similarly, rolling his eyes and muttering about it being a waste of time. He starts to exit with the others when he pauses for a moment and has a thought, and he meanders back to where the fairy is, moving much closer to her. And when she's done with her waterworks, he'll say, okay, so you don't have any cash, but I figure the ones that took your brother, they must have something lining their pockets, right?
The fairy tearfully looks up with one eye, and then sees you, and then looks around, and then notices that there's only you 5 and one other left, which I am going to get now. She sees that literally everyone except for this group and this person have actually walked out the door. And when she sees that, her face completely changes to one of annoyance. And she stands up and she puts her fists on her hips and she goes, would you look at that? I swear, a little bit of money and everyone comes running. And then the second you take it away, oh, no one wants to help the poor little fairy. And then she pauses and she looks at everyone else and goes, well, I suppose you guys will do.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean? Is there money or is there no money? I need to know this. It's kind of important.
She looks at you and arches her eyebrow. And then she just sits down, clear as day, obviously not upset or distressed, even a little bit, and crosses her legs. And when she does that, you hear another voice from the rafters and that says, please forgive my sister. She is, not the friendliest person, and she does love her little games. And from the rafters comes another fairy with blonde hair, dressed similarly to the purple fairy, and lands beside her. And I'm uploading the picture of him now. And he says, of course, we actually do have a reward. We would not call you here without one. However, for reasons that I'm sure you can understand, we needed to weed out the people that were only in it for the money. We have a job for you, but the job that we have for you guys is one of moral issues, just as much as it is money. And we would both feel much better knowing that the people we hired were more invested than simply wanting gold. The fact that you guys stayed back suggests that perhaps there's more to you than simply cash.
True, fair enough, but I have to say, high morals doesn't feed my family or my children's stomachs. But I'll listen to what you have to say.
The purple fairy stands up and kind of brushes her skirts again, and the fairy with the yellow hair says, of course, my name is Trip, and this is Mika. And Mika just kind of waves to everyone. And he says, we're fairly new in this area, so you'll have to forgive us if we're not really aware of your customs. Excuse me. But we do have a job that needs done, and we are willing to pay you quite handsomely for it. We are looking for this. And he opens up his hand, and in his hand, which for his hand is actually takes both of his hands to hold it fairly well, but for you guys would be a rather small purple gem. It is completely smooth and round, almost like a marble, and it is a very deep purple, and you can tell if you look at it that it looks uniquely made, very good craftsmanship, almost magical. And he holds it up so that you can all see it, and he says, we're looking for these. There are 5 of them. We have 1. That means that there are 4 others out there, and we need them returned to us. If you take up this job and help us find these stones, we will pay you 250 gold now and 250 upon completion.
Each or as a group?
Each.
Oh, whoa. Oh, Ah, really?
Mika looks at you like she doesn't understand. Like, yes, really.
Cool, did you hear that?
Yes, you're getting 500 gold now and later.
He kind of jumps up and down. A little feminine, but you know.
Mika like looks at her brother and says, "Are you sure about that?" And Trip's just like, there's not many left. He says, we will tell you more about it as we go along, but the most important thing to keep in mind is that these stones are magical, and we need them back. That is why we're offering so much, because we need you. And he pauses and hesitates and thinks about how to say it. We're looking for people that would actually get the job done and not just take the stones and run off with them. So the money we're paying you is for your loyalty in this matter, not because we think the task is worth it.
Fair enough. Can we ask a couple questions before we get started?
Of course.
All right, Pearson pulls up a chair and sits on it in a lounging fashion. First and foremost, what exactly are these gems? Are they just valuable? Do you need them for any particular reason? Are they a resource, or are they uniquely made?
They are... Trip pauses for a second. You could say they're a family heirloom. But more than that, I'd rather not say.
Fair enough, that's fine. Do you have any enemies who would want to take them from you?
Not here. Not enemies that you should have to worry about. But they are very high-quality gems.
Okay. So how the heck did you lose them then?
Well, and Trip looks at his sister, and Mika kind of looks down at the table, and Trip goes, apparently, we were robbed.
Gotcha. So that means they are valuable and someone wants them.
Oh,
Fair enough.
They are far more than valuable. Just look at them, and he holds it up again, and you can see it does look like a very valuable gem.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I could sell it for a good price, but that's not really the point.
He says, Trip says, I'm not the best at tracking such things down, but I do know that they were sold to a vendor who works in the seedier part of town out of a church.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. And Mika says Fredericks, and goes, Fredericks.
Yeah. Fredericks, I think I know exactly who you're talking about. You hired the right person.
Oh, and Trip looks happily. Oh, well, that might make this much more easier. However, that said, given that he is a vendor, I think it would be best to assume that he's not going to have all four of them. These gems are, well, as you can see, not something that would stay on a shelf for long.
Fair enough.
And Mika
It's a
stands
starting
up.
point.
She stands up, puts her fists on her hips again, and says, "It's time for shopping." Like we said, we're giving each of you 250 gold, and if you are going to hunt down these gems, and if we are going to a seedy part of town, perhaps it would be worth it for all of you to use some of that money to, I don't know, what is it you buy, potions or spells or whatnot, and I think it would be a good group bonding exercise.
I look around to the supposed group and roll my eyes and say, well, if you're paying, I'll stick around.
And then Mika actually flutters up to Pearson's shoulder and sits down happily and says, well, then it's settled. And she starts kicking her legs back and forth. And Trip, kind of shaking his head and following suit, kind of flies up to, the only one that's close by, Finn, and sits on Finn's shoulder as well. And he's like, I'm sorry, you don't mind, do you?
No, I guess that's fine. I'm not gonna, squish you if I have to itch my shoulder or something.
And
Right.
Finn goes, by the way, what are your names?
Oh, I'm Finn.
He looks at you and says, pleasure.
Pearson Cullimore, but I used to be known as the Bone Splitter. Probably just leave it at that.
Hey, Cole, look at this. Got a fairy on my shoulder.
It's very impressive.
And,
kinda
and,
weird.
and Trip is like, and you are? Talking to you, Biff.
Good. Coal will suffice.
Well, nice to meet you, Cole. And Mika, since Mika is close to you over here, Burn, she's like, and your name?
Keen.
Oh, I see. And she doesn't look that interested in it. She's just like, more like she just needs to know the name. And then she looks over to the bartender and says, barkeep, our agreement. And the bartender nods his head, and he pulls forth several bags of something and puts them on the
Can
counter.
Pearson raise his hand for a little bit?
Sure.
And he points to the creepy motherfucker in the corner and says, him. I want to know his name.
Whoa, I didn't even see someone over there.
And the gentleman over here who chimes up and says, yeah, I was wondering the same thing myself.
No one was talking to you.
And at that point, Jarek actually rotates the chair since he was still staring at the fireplace. Uses the staff to prop it against the table so that he's leaning back. I am known as Jarek Veermol.
He's gonna hide behind Cole here.
Cuts his silver eyes at Finn.
Hi. Hi.
Mika actually flutters off of Pearson's shoulder and flies over to where Jarek is and lands on the table in front of him and says, is there something wrong with your throat?
The silver eyes that were cutting at Finn come to rest upon Mika.
Okay, Cole, he's really creepy. Me
Mika just stares at you, honestly, earnestly, just stares at you, as if expecting an answer.
Is there something wrong with your height?
She says, actually, no, I've always considered to be pretty tall for fairies. I was always quite proud of it, but thank you for noticing.
Jarek peels back his pale lips in a death grin.
There is nothing wrong then.
Fair enough, Mika says, and then flutters up and sits on Jarek's shoulder. By the way, everyone, your gold is on the bar over there. 1 bag each. Ooh. I'm watching.
Pearson takes a long, assertive, not really assertive, but probing gaze at Jarek. But after a while, turns around and maybe foolishly turns his back to a man in the corner and goes to the bar and collects his gold, his single bag of gold. He opens it up and starts counting the coins.
And each of you will find in the bag of gold, true to their word, is 250 gold pieces that you are free to put on your character sheet.
Oh,
okay.
And as
stumbling through the bar, still just kind of knocking into things, getting back over, gets the bag of gold, and just kind of weighs it in his hand.
And then Trip, who is on Pearson's shoulder, who I assume you're over here somewhere.
Yes, correct. Sorry, I didn't move myself.
Looks over to the other gentleman here and says, and I'm sorry, what was your name again? And the other gentleman who, Pearson, now that you're closer to him, you can see that he's quite dirty and not exactly the cleanest and reminds you a lot of people you used to work with on the street. Not anyone familiar, but that type.
So I don't necessarily recognize him, but I know his gait and his style.
Exactly.
Does he have any gang colors on him?
No.
Okay.
But he certainly doesn't seem like someone that you would invite for dinner. And he looks over and he just gruffly says, my name's Jackson. Can we get on with this already? And Mika pumps her fist in the air and says, yes! Shopping ahoy.